What's up, young world? We are live at 5 here in Houston, Texas, man. Live at Sneaks. Shout out to the people over at Sneaks, but I'm with my boy Shakeel, man. This is the first episode, official episode.
First one.
You know, we already did an episode like a year and a half ago. We didn't have a name or nothing. We was just shooting, talking and shit, but the official name, man, is the JetLounge podcast. We got the manager in the back making funny faces, but man, just shout out to everybody who's a part of this right now. Panorama Studios, man, holding it down, an amazing setup, getting us started. We just want to talk about lifestyle, man, life, entrepreneurship, you know, what's going on in the world right now. Keep a positive, uplifting type of vibe. And I don't know, man, what you got to say? We here.
I'm excited to be here today. Working with Jonathon has been phenomenal. We've just been talking about building big businesses, traveling the world, and just enjoying a lifestyle that most people dream about. And, you know, we felt like, you know what, we might as well create a podcast together and share the things that we've been able to do throughout our journeys, and we're here today.
Yeah, so like the whole concept of, you know, JetLounge, you know, I was just thinking, like, what's a great name? Like, if me and him are gonna partner, like, Shakeel has a business funding company. They do credit from personal all the way up to business funding to get, you know, up to 6 figures of funding for different businesses, right, and more. And so I own JetQuest, right? So you put together like that travel, that American Express type of vibe. I'm thinking of like the American Express lounge at the airport. I'm like, JetLounge. So nobody was using it, so I'm like, boom, JetLounge. And
JetLounge.
I think it just makes sense because it is that kind of vibe. You see, we got tea and champagne over here, you know what I'm saying? We just want to do a little toast to the first episode. And, you know, this is the test of the discipline, man, the test of consistency, because most of these people start a podcast and stop at like 5 episodes, 3 episodes, maybe make it to 5 actually. But, you know, I said our first goal, bro, we got to get to 50 episodes. You know, first goal. I got a crazy schedule this year. You got a crazy schedule this year. But shit, we got to get to 50 episodes. So let's go ahead and start getting into it, man. This is episode 1, so yes, we do have notes. But, you know, I really wanted to get into a couple of things as far as, like, who we are, why we're doing this, and a little bit about what we're already doing, too. So give the people a little bit more info on you, man. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Shakeel. I'm currently 32. Born in Trinidad, moved to America when I was 9 years old. Always used to sit on the balcony and watch airplanes go across the sky and say, one day I'm going to come to America. And then at the age of 9, I came to America and said, you know what, one day I'm going to be rich and wealthy. And since then, I've just always been fascinated with airplanes. I traveled a lot. And then I got involved in business at a young age. So what got me excited about doing this podcast is that I already want to travel the world. And just imagine having something like this where you can share your different stories and the things you've been able to see and travel, like working with Jonathon, seeing him travel the world. One day he's in Houston, the next day he's in Dubai. Then one day he's in Houston, and there's no telling where he will be at, but he's traveling the world and he's doing this and he's having fun, but more importantly, he's been able to build a business. So it's just a blessing to get around like-minded individuals like him to partner up and do something great, because you guys have an opportunity now where you can be a part of something great, and it's just the beginning.
Just the beginning. So, well, I'll get into mine first before I ask that. But, you know, if y'all don't know, like I said, I'm Jonathon Lewis, man, and I founded JetQuest about 5 years ago. Before that, I was in the travel industry for 11 years, born and raised here in Houston, Texas. And, you know, I pretty much always had the same vision for my life. I knew I was going to make a lot of money. I was going to travel the world, and I wanted to help a lot of people. And at first, I thought that was going to be made possible through, like, basketball. So I always had the same vision, but I've switched vehicles twice, actually, in my life. So after I was done chasing basketball, I went to college and played basketball for a little bit. But after I was done, you know, chasing basketball, I immediately jumped into, you know, a direct sales travel club. And I learned so much about personal development, business, entrepreneurship, sales, and then obviously the travel industry. And that was the first time I got a chance to actually travel and just experience different cultures, different foods, different cuisines, different thought processes, like completely different thought processes outside of America and the Western world. And, you know, that just made me want to have that lifestyle, that freedom forever. So fast forward, that company ended up going bankrupt for a couple of reasons, but it exposed me to fast growth because that company, from the time I joined, went from about 500 million to about $1 billion in revenue each year.
Wow.
You know, so they're doing crazy numbers. And I saw that kind of fast growth in a matter of 5 years, and then I saw them crash. And so learning basically the things that they were doing to allow them to win, and then seeing what caused them to lose, you can't get really a better lesson than that in business. And if you don't learn from people's losses, you're going to repeat them, right? So I took a year off and just figuring out what I was going to do. I was doing like social media and online marketing management for different businesses for about a year while I was living in LA. And I had a friend of mine named Sed hit me up. RIP and shout out to my boy Sed. Sed was a huge inspiration for me starting JetQuest. He was living abroad in Malaysia at the time. He was living abroad in Malaysia doing like, you know, teacher work. If you get like if you have a degree, you can just go over to a lot of these countries and teach English just because you have a degree. And so he was using that as just a way to live over there. And he exposed me to like, yo, this is like 2015, 2016, and he's living in a penthouse, $800, you know what I'm saying? Eating $2 dinners every day, taking weekend trips when he's off work to freaking Thailand or Bali and stuff like this, hanging with monks, and just he was putting all of us on game. And he just hit me up one day. I was like, bro, we need to do a trip. I already found this nice mansion in Thailand. Let's run it up and do this trip. And I'm like, shit, bet, let's do it. And we did the trip. He probably had like 20 people there. I probably had like 18, 20 people there. But it sparked that interest in the travel again in me to like do it as a business and be able to build something within that space. And I really just saw the pathway to building something big, because the people who started the previous company that I had been in, I mean, they had millions of dollars in funding. That was a huge company, right? But you can build it, if you can find a way to start to build a huge brand, like block by block, that was my pathway. And I was like, okay, trip by trip, I can start to build this brand. And I know eventually I'll be able to continuously tell the story and show results, and then other people will join in to help me build it and bigger. And that's the way we got to go. And then eventually even like talking about the whole venture capital route. So anyway, I went from my story to telling the whole story of JetQuest, but this is where we're at now. And like I said, fast forward, that trip was a success. We didn't end up partnering together. He had some other people he wanted to partner with as well, and I didn't want to partner with them. So we both was like, bet, let's do our own thing. And we still supported each other from, across the court. But Seth ended up passing away, man, in an accident. He went to visit his mother for Mother's Day, and that hurt a lot of us that knew him. And like I said, he definitely sparked he's a huge reason for why JetQuest is here today. So RIP said, but that's where we're here, man, the JetLounge podcast. We want to really get into the thick of things, man. Like, we don't want to just talk business. We are going to talk business, but we don't want to just be super serious. We're going to have some fun. We were supposed to have a third podcast host also today. But things happen. Things happen. Like I said, it's all about discipline. It's all about consistency, man. Like, that's a huge part of the business. Like, we had somebody who was supposed to be here. They hit me up an hour before. Oh, I can't make it. Okay.
Life happens.
So basically, with our goal, why do you think like it's important to set that goal and separate ourselves, like with doing 50 podcast episodes? Like, why?
Honestly, it brings me back to this one saying that people always talk about. They said, when you go to the grocery store, right, and you go to the aisle bread, how many different brands do you see? A ton. You can get all, same with the water, So even though there's a lot of people doing podcasts, what do we offer that's different? And I think because both of us came from the same industry, we kind of had the same mindset, thinking about, listen, if I can build you guys' company, what if I just do it for myself?
Right.
And what if I just take the things that I know for a fact that work and implement it? Where can we be? And that's what I did with, my company. I said, you know what? If I just word of mouth, build it brick by brick, like you said, eventually you have a company. So just being able to be a part of the industry I think that we came from is really what inspired us the most, because now look where we're at today.
So what about the whole credit situation made you want to jump into credit? Like why credit from coming from direct sales?
My
Business
stepdad,
funding.
he always told me, make sure your credit is good. And I was 18 years old, and he set me up. I'm talking about, I went to dealership, got my first car. I had an Infiniti. I was paying $300 a month off the lot. Then my insurance would be like $100, and back then I didn't know that your credit played a major role in your insurance and things like that. But because my stepdad always had an 800 credit score, we never struggled growing up. Like I never saw him with cash. He always had a good credit score. Still to this day, his credit score is like an 840. So he always told me
People don't
two
even know
things.
that you can go above 800. You just put like half the audience on game.
Yeah, and he told me two things: stay away from child support and don't mess your credit up. So those two things I took really serious, and I ended up messing my credit up.
Hey, that's a clip right there. That's going on the reel right there.
I messed my credit up.
Say that one more time. You said stay away from child
Stay
support.
away from child support and don't mess your credit up.
Man, it's a lot of people having babies out here that I'm just really Kyle over here to my it'd be blowing my mind, but people are not managing themselves well. Like I know we out here having sex and shit, but damn, like going on with the baby, and some people are doing it trying to like keep a relationship that's already failing. Like what's up with that?
And now they put it on your credit. So now a lot of
You can
people
put the baby on the credit. What you
well,
mean?
no, child support goes on people's credit as a collection. So those two things go hand in hand. So I tell a lot of people that you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to get on child support. The reason why, because it messes up your whole entire life. But by him teaching me that, I started fixing my credit 2015, 2014, and this when no one was doing credit. I was buying letters. I was paying all these different companies. I wasn't getting nothing done, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm just doing it myself. And then I did it. And then when COVID hit, they started telling people, don't pay your bills, because everybody started getting some money, right?
But
they
it
stopped
ended
paying
up
their bills.
coming back and being on their
So
credit.
now, last year is when people started not realizing, man, I shouldn't have messed my credit up. Yeah, I had the money, but they didn't understand the value of credit, because when you got so much money coming in, you're not thinking about credit.
Right.
But now you don't have the money and your credit is messed up. You're in a lose-lose situation. So it's just something that people need, and just seeing that it's never going to go nowhere. It's always going to be here. And guess what? I'm going to position myself in the middle where I can make money and also help people at the same time, because when I help someone get a new car or get a new home, that's better in their life. So not also that we're making money, we're also making an impact at the same time in a positive way. So that's really the reason why I do credit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's deep too. I mean, it's honestly like such a huge part, like America's economy is credit.
You can't get nothing without it.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that so many of us are, and people got to put their egos down too when it comes to credit. Like so many of us are completely ignorant to how it works, to how the system works. And then on top of that, people think they know a little bit, and so they know the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I already know how to send out letters. It's like,
It's deeper than that.
It's a lot deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. That's why you're not where you think you should be already. Because if you really knew it, you would be there. So, so that makes a lot of sense.
They just know a score. My credit score is a 700. What's your profile? How many accounts you have?
Yeah.
What's your utilization? There's many different factors that they don't teach you. So the average person that you come across, they just know I got a 700 credit score. They don't know anything else other than that, other than what they've seen on the internet. So it's a very great lucrative industry, and I also used it to invest into when I got involved in my first company. I signed up on a credit card and I invested the money on there. So since 2013, I've been a full-time entrepreneur. So I'm going on 13 years and I work in a job, and it's because I've been using credit since I was 18 years old.
So education on credit allows you to take money, the other people's money, invest into your ideas, execute those ideas, pay those other people's money back, and now you have the money coming from those investments. And I mean, that's basic common sense, bro. Like, that's basic common sense. You really just, so many of us don't have that knowledge. I didn't know about business credit till about 26.
Yeah, most
you know
people
what I'm saying?
don't.
Like, I didn't know at all. And I mean, even after that, it was becoming aware and then having to start to build it.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe a year and a half or so later when I actually started first getting access. But you had that since you were 16, you said.
Well, I knew about it before I was 16, but 18 is when you can start actually using credit. So
Right.
he took me to the bank, and he set me up. And still to this day, like I said, every business that I've done, Airbnb, things like that, everything off of credit.
Can I lift this up? Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, everything is strictly just off of credit, man. It's the secret to success. Because when you think about it, right? Remember being in high school and you saw that kid that, they turned 17 and 16 and they got a brand new car. And you was like, how they get a brand new car? It's because their parents had them on their credit cards since they was a kid. So all that credit history now built up when they turn 18. They got an 800 credit score, 700 something credit score. I did it with my cousin. When we gave them my grandmother's house, he already had a good credit score because since he was 18, we added him on all his mom credit cards. Her credit score is in the 800s. So literally, he had an Amex credit card at 18 years old.
Life changer, especially if you know what to do with it. And so, yeah, that's a game changer. So you see, we got the credit master over here. We got a travel expert over here. So, like I said, that's why we came up with the whole name JetLounge for the podcast and get it going. And yes, we do need another host, preferably a woman. Not even preferably. We need a woman host. We need a woman to bounce off. We got 3 couches here that was specifically for us to be able to bounce ideas off each other and chop it up. And then we're going to be bringing in other hosts as well that we talk up with. So what's the most surprising thing that's like happened to you since you became an entrepreneur? Most surprising.
Is that it looks great on the internet, but being an entrepreneur in real life, most people don't understand that. It's a lot of work.
That shit sucks sometimes.
It's every day. You have to work. You work harder because you're working for yourself, meaning that if you don't go out there and get that client, you're not going to make any money because you're not making money by the hour. You're making money by the sale.
Yeah.
If you're not out there networking, you're not out there,
That take different type of balls.
Bro, it's nice where I don't even feel like going out, but I'm like, listen, if I go out, I might get a client tonight. And I always end up meeting someone new. Hey, what's your Instagram? And then they follow me back. And then they're like, oh, I need help with my credit. And then, so it's just, man, the credit industry it's a great industry, but it's one of those industries where it can either help you or it can hurt you. Because if you now have access to a whole bunch of money that you never had before, guess what you're going to start doing? You're going to start spending. Before you know it, in 2 months, your closet is going to look like this. Because you just swiping.
And you ain't made no investments.
No investments.
You got the same income, but you owe money now.
You look good, dog, on the internet. You go get the jewelry. You go get I call it the credit repair kit. You got to go get the jewelry with the big pen and get your company's name on there. You got to get the designer clothes. You got to get the rental car, the Airbnb houses. You got to put together your credit repair marketing kit. And I tell people that's not the way to do it. Because when you're pushing at the people, you're pushing to be a consumer instead of being a producer, meaning that you're supposed to take the money that you have on your credit,
go create some investments,
businesses that's
and then
going to make
show
you
them,
more money.
like, yeah, I have an Airbnb through credit. I have some cars on Turo through credit. I got whatever that I invested in through credit.
The money is making you money, not costing you money.
Be an example. Like I asked you that the other day. I was like, hey, can we help these people out, blah, 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 get them, let's get their credit fixed. She's like, yeah, we can do that. I'm like, so do you, like, consult with them afterwards about what to do with their money? He was like, nah, that's on them. But you still really are by doing it by example.
Be an example.
Yeah, you being an example. So, like you say, you're not a financial advisor. That's a whole other risk.
Yeah.
To be a financial advisor. But yeah, actually taking on, just being a leader by leading by example and showing, like, yes, get the money. But make sure that you make some money that's going to allow you to have income plus pay that money back.
Yeah, because people do what you do. They don't do what you say. So if they see, you can tell people all day to invest in this, do this, but then every time they see you, you're just a walking mascot for Gucci and Louis. Like, that's not a smart investment if you just came up on some money. You do that.
You just came up on some money.
That's new money. Because people that got real money, they don't walk around with a bunch of brands and logos plastered all over them. That just screams new money.
If it's a brand, it's like the silent brand. It's like
quality.
You know what I'm saying?
Quality. It's all about quality.
It might be Balenci, but it's got the logo on the back.
On the back.
You don't even know. It's just a white T-shirt. $350. But nah, for sure. So the cool thing about us combining with this, like, credit is lifestyle, travel is lifestyle. There's so much shit that goes into it. Both, like, obviously you can, at the end of the day, credit is money. It's the system of money that we live in, right? This fiat currency, and you can do everything with it. Eat, travel, pay for your car, your house, whatever, right? And so with travel, I think the coolest thing is that you can be able to earn rewards points on your everyday spending.
Travel for free.
And let's get into that because obviously we're partners. We got this podcast going. We both have our own businesses, travel, funding, credit. So like, how can we explain to people how they can utilize the credit to also enhance their lifestyle through travel while still being smart
Yes.
with their regular, everyday, every week, every month spending?
That's actually a great question. So what
you
I
know.
would recommend, honestly, is that you get a travel credit card. And if you already use money to buy things all the time, just use your credit card. Because guess what? You get free points.
Yeah.
So now you start getting free flights. So just imagine being able to just swipe your credit card as you normally do, but now you're getting free points and you can travel for free. It's some people that only pay the taxes. You know, I remember I traveled a lot of times and people are like, how? I just paid $5 just in taxes. And it's because you can use your points to pay for it, you know, and there's many, you can do cash back. You know, there's so many different perks, but just think about the people that.
What does the cashback mean?
Cashback means that every time you swipe your credit card, they give you a percentage back. And you can either use it for points or you can turn it into like actual cash value and then, or you can use it to pay your bills.
Gotcha.
But you get nothing from using your debit card. But if you use the right credit cards, you get points. A lot of times people use Amex. Why? Because you get a lot of points for Amex. You get the Amex Lounge. There's so many different perks and benefits from having certain cards that, listen, you're already going to spend the money anyway. Just get the benefits for it. Because think about it. What else is going to give you a free flight?
Girls is thinking, a nigga.
Yo, this is wild.
That's what they thinking. Man, that should be funny too, because I'll have a lot of women who like follow me or who see my page and start to follow me will ask about a trip and be like, "Oh, are you paying for my flight?" I'm like, "This is a business.
This is a business. Nothing's free.
What do you think this is?
Nothing's
What's going
free.
on, man?" Nah, but
if they had good credit, they can just put it on their credit card.
Do it on your
You know,
credit
so that's
card.
what we're trying to teach people is just utilize the resources it's not going away. It's not a trend. It's
Yeah.
not like credit's going out. No, if you want a house in 5 years, you're going to need a good credit score. If you wanted a house 10 years ago, you still need a good credit score.
Yeah.
So it's literally your everyday. But more importantly, when it comes to credit, it just talks about your habits. Because just like anything in life, right? Let's say you came to this restaurant and, you know, you just not paying people on time or you running off on the bill or, you know, I'm going to pay, you know, it's just habits. And they won't want to do business with you again, right?
right.
But what if you just always came here, you tip good, you take care of the bartender, you say hi to everybody, you just do the right thing, that's what's gonna happen. You now can develop a credit where, you know, they might let you, you know, bring the lounge on a busy night that they normally won't let you because you built a good relationship. So credit is all about relationships.
Yeah.
That's really all it comes down to. If you don't pay someone, they're gonna tell everyone, hey, this person didn't pay me. Don't
Yeah.
do business with them.
Yeah. A lot
So
of
it's the
people
same
take it
thing.
way more deeper because it's like it seems like this daunting thing and it seems big. Oh, the credit bureaus, but at the end of the day, it's your street cred with the banks,
Literally.
with the entities that run the money. So, hey, by the way, can we see the shirt in the video? We can.
Tulum.
We got it. Okay. Bet. Yeah, we got the Tulum shirt and the JetQuest shirt over here. I had to do a little product placement. By the way, we're gonna be offering product placement real soon as we keep it going. But so how does like you work with people in credit? Like, explain to me the difference between like millennials and Gen Z and maybe baby boomers. Like how different people see credit and how its importance matters to them differently.
Oh yeah. So most baby boomers, they're scared to use credit. You know, they're like, don't use credit. Credit is
That's
bad.
hilariously
You know, and
true.
that's because they don't understand it. You know, when they learned about credit, it was just like they already been stuck in a certain way of, you know, buying everything with cash.
Yeah.
But then you also have, you know, the other middle group where, you know, they learn a little bit about it, but they're still very skeptical about it. They don't really fully understand it. But then you have, you know, the younger generation now where it's like,
They
oh,
living off of it.
everything is credit. I went to the mall with a few young cats in my team, and I'm talking about they buying Mary, all of this. We had Saks, and I'm just like,
Y'all niggas are
$800
wildin'.
shirts. I'm like, man, y'all wildin', but they're more free with using credit
Yeah.
to.
They're
and
knowledgeable, but they
buying the wrong things because they thinking that you have to wear the wealth to attract the money, but you're really supposed to do the opposite. But they're not scared to use it.
Right.
You know, so they're very open to it. And me, I grew up around that time where, you know, like I said, my stepdad put me on game and it changed my life, man.
What do you think is the reason for that? Like why the two completely different like views and temperaments with using it?
I think it's the way they market because now everything is more like, look at a firm. I saw the other day, you can get food on payments.
You
from
can buy like
DoorDash.
$10 items on payment plan.
You
yeah.
can go to McDonald's and get McDonald's on payments and pay Affirm.
Why are y'all doing that, Affirm? Why are y'all?
I mean,
doing
everything you can get through small payments.
What are y'all doing that?
Everything, you know. So now they're pushing it more and more. Where, hey, you want something? Hey, 4 payments. They break because guess what? It's all credit.
No,
and
exactly.
if you don't pay it, you get interest. So they make more money even if you don't pay it. So it's a win-win for the company.
I was trying to buy a book on. Well, I was not trying to buy. I was buying a book on Amazon, and yeah, you get those options, man. I'm just like, why would I need to break? It's a $12. The fact that they're offering it is crazy, but yeah, it's definitely a trap.
It gets you in the habit of just buying. Like me
really,
personally, I don't shop online.
credit cards really wasn't a thing until like what, the 80s.
The 80s.
Yes.
Credit is new. It haven't been around 100 years.
So a lot of our parents got trapped and fucked through credit, and so that it was a fear thing. And now we are more knowledgeable about it. We got the internet also. We got ChatGPT. I'm using ChatGPT right now.
Shout out to ChatGPT.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, that is a funny thing. So that's a lot of game right there. If y'all didn't catch that, then you definitely missed out. So I want to say, how do you think the pandemic shaped like millennials and Gen Z right now, and how they think about work and freedom? Because like everything we're talking about is about lifestyle, you know, getting enough money to be able to make investments so that you can live off your investments, and freedom. Traveling, to me, travel represents freedom. Like the ability to leave and go wherever you want to go on the planet. To me, that's freedom. That's why I'm always gone.
Gone,
like,
always.
You know, even at my, like, even just when I was broke, bro, like, always trying to be gone and travel and find a way. And I feel like I learned a lot from that. And it motivated me when I came back to level up again and again and again. And it was just like a refresher. So what do you think? You think the pandemic had a big effect on these two generations, you know, millennials and Gen Z, and how they think about work and freedom?
Oh, yeah. Most of the younger generation, they don't want to work in the office. They want to be in front of a camera and shoot content. They want to be content creators. We're content creators now. I used to be against it. I'm a content creator now. My friend said, "You're always posting." Listen, I'm making money off of this, so I'm going to post every day. You know?
See me, though.
We content creators now. So, you know, that's just what the world is now. You can make money from your phone. You can make money shooting content. And the older generation, they still stuck in, you know, the go to school, go get a job, work for 40 years. And it's like, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like torn in between like how we are as a society right now, kind of what is it, China has going on right now. Well, actually, no, China's mastered it because they are going crazy with the whole content also. Mm-hmm. Like, they're killing the whole TikTok game.
Live.
That other app they got that came and went viral after TikTok got shut down for 2 days. And they have a huge market of influencers who are making hella money. Like you've seen these viral videos of like a Chinese influencer with 70 what's it called, tripods up, and 70 phones recording them do one thing, and they're streaming on all these different platforms and different accounts. So China's ahead of the game on that, but they're also still finding a way to excel with like education, arithmetic. They're now making it mandatory for 6-year-olds and shit like that to learn AI.
Yeah, and they should.
And I just don't get why we not competing, bro. We're getting left in the dust over
And that's
here.
good that you said that too, because it just made me realize that before you become successful, there's certain things that you do that until you look back, you don't kind of realize it. Like me, for example, I went to, in elementary school, like we was learning computers. You remember those old Apple computers with the back of it used to be like different colors?
Yeah.
So that's when it first started for me. 4th grade, just learning about computers. Then middle school, started learning a little bit more. But high school, I went to a magnet school. So I went to school for business. So I remember we was like building JavaScripts, building websites, having to dress up.
So you always learn how to code.
Yeah, we learned how to code in high school.
Different. Yeah.
Yep, so it's called an academy.
Yeah.
So I kind of was already prepped for it. And then again, like I said, from there, it just made me realize that now I've always been on computers. You know, like I don't leave the house without my laptop.
I killed mine. You didn't even touch yours.
Hey, man, I'm trying to healthy living, you know.
Okay.
But
I look like an alcoholic.
It just inspired me. And he was the one that said we wasn't going to be drinking. And as you guys can see, you know.
Hey, just to let y'all know so y'all don't think I'm some kind of, I just did 100 days no alcohol right before we went to DR. I just got back from DR. So we was drinking out there though. We had a great time. But yeah, so back to what you were saying.
What was I saying?
Well, we was really just getting at like essentially how they don't want to work, and I went into that rant about China and what they got going
Oh
on.
yeah,
And
basically
you were saying
like
you went to the
you're
magnet
prepping.
school.
You know, it starts off when you're young. It's like
Yeah.
when you start off when you're young, you're being molded basically. Even now to credit, I didn't just learn about this a couple years ago
You were
like
given
most
the
people.
info.
My stepdad literally drilled this in me since I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially when it comes to success. I think a lot of people overlook environment. They forget about environment. They might not overlook it, but they forget about environment and just chalk a lot of shit up to like, oh, this person must have worked hard. A lot of stuff is subconscious. Like I told you, I didn't learn about credit till I was 26. I not only had to learn credit, but I then had to also like get rid of a lot of my old thought processes on money that I previously had based on ignorance from, unfortunately, my family, my parents, right? And the other people around me. Because none of them used credit for investments. They only, if they had credit, they only used it for
Bills.
getting a house, getting a car, or getting an apartment, right? Liabilities, essentially. So having access to information or your original environment being something that conduces this, you know, knowledge or thought process early, it make, like, example, let's use analogies, keep it simple. People look at Warren Buffett like he's some amazing dude, which he is, but he was brought up from the age of 5 reading the Wall Street Journal and stock papers, like 100-book stock papers and books since he was 5 and 6. So by the time he was 18, he was probably a 1%er of knowledgeable investors in the beginning of the investment age, right? So yes, he's a genius, but he's a genius because he was developed in that manner. And a lot of people I see, I'm not gonna go there. I see a lot of people basically like they have their kids and they're like, oh, he's just a kid. I'm like, no. It's not about being super strict with the kids. It's about having a strict environment around them. The kid don't realize it's a strict environment. He's a kid. He's unaware of 90% of shit that's happening. But putting the things in front of him that are going to develop the genius in the person. Right? Obviously, you might want to you want to allow them to find out what they're good at, what they're great at, what they personally like, but actually having an environment conducive. I got a couple of friends, 2 friends. Shout out to my boy Ronnie, and shout out to my other homie Jones out in the ATL, man. Both of them got sons. I see them, first of all, Ronnie, since his son could sit up, he used to post on his story, his son would sit up, he'd push him back down. He sit up, he push him back down. He's doing sit-ups. The baby don't know he's doing sit-ups. The boy's 5 now, he got abs. He got abs, but he's an athlete. He might be like 6 or 7 now, actually. But Ronnie's been working with him since he could walk, before he could walk, and just making it incrementally, you know, incremental changes in the environment around the kid was conducive to him. Eventually, I would not be surprised at all if his son goes to the NFL. I will not be surprised one bit. I'm gonna be like, I've been watching you on Instagram train with your dad before you realized you was training. He had him going through cones when he first could walk. He's just walking. But eventually, he's familiar with the cones, and now the stumble step turns into a step over the cone. Step over, and now it's ba, 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 ba.
You can mold them.
It's the same thing with everything. Like, it's the environment. So for all the people out there who are having kids willy-nilly, and the people who are having kids in the family, however you had your kids, come up with a vision for them, man. Come up with a vision for them. Obviously, they're going to have their own vision, but as far as the actual environment you create for them, I think that's really, really important. People just go to work, come home, take care of your kid, feed them, and that's it. That's great.
The teacher raise the kid.
Yeah, that's important, but yeah, like, we live in a crazy society. Like, all of y'all have nieces and nephews or little cousins. You seen this wild shit that's on YouTube. It's some wild shit on children's YouTube, bro. And it sneaks past because it looks like a cartoon, but it'd be some wild shit.
Yeah.
It'd be some wild shit.
I tell my little nephew, like, man, what are you watching? Every time I go to YouTube, I'm like, what are you watching? So,
bro,
like you just said with the kids, like my son, he lives in Houston. You know, I don't have too much family. I don't have no family here in Houston other than my son.
Yeah.
You know, so I keep him in Houston, you know, because I can mold him, you know, and now he
Yeah.
can figure out what he like. He like computers. Sometimes he likes soccer. Sometimes he like basketball. He have enough time freedom where, you know, he can figure out what he want and not be influenced, you know. Even TV, his mom, no TV in the room, you know, like just really molding him to not be like how most kids
consumer.
are. Because kids nowadays, like I said, they know the same thing that we know, and they're 8, 9 years old. They talking about the same things we talking about as adults, and it's how? Because it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram. They now have access to seeing so much, and it's like
So much they can consume and understand before they even get 7. And they're not even really fully comprehending it. They just are aware of it type of deal.
and just putting it out there. So, you know, you can definitely mold your kids, and I think, you know, you should be careful about who your kids' friends are. My son, he ain't got no friends. Because he got companies to run, you know. I'm just being real. Like, my son is just, you know, most of my friends don't even know my son. They see him on social media. That's about it. And it's because I just don't want any type of relationships, because what if I'm not cool with you no more, and then, hey, my son asking me, hey, where's your other friend at? I'm like, he's not around no more. So instead of having to deal with that, guess what? I don't even introduce my son to just anyone unless they're gonna be around a long time.
For now?
We tried for a year, and so far he liked public school a little bit better than the other school. Like, he come home, he be dirty. I'm like, bro, but it's like he be happy. You know, I was a public school. We did private school up until last year, but he loved public school more.
But is it like a school that you fuck with that they got?
Yeah, it's a good school. He just won't be, you know, in the hood with, you know, Ray son and Pookie and stuff like that. Like, it ain't that. It ain't that type of situation. But we just wanted him to get a different experience because, you know, going to public school, like you said, it make you a little tough, you know, compared to just, you know, I didn't grow up in private school and I turned out pretty good. So I think, you know, he could try it out, and if he want to do whatever he want to do, he could do it, because he's the only child. He's only going to be the only child for a very, very, very long time. So
So there's a possibility you might do one more.
No.
You said for a very
Zero.
long time.
No.
So you just
I'm
say
one and
never.
done.
So just say never.
I'm one and done.
Okay. Nah,
Unless you know, got
See?
10 million. You know, unless you
10
wealthy.
million?
Unless you got at least 10 million.
This nigga
Liquid.
said 10
you know,
million
I might
liquid.
think about it.
selling
You know?
seeds.
I don't mind
Okay.
being a stay-at-home husband.
Nah, it was one of the things. So look, my nephew, I'm at my brother's house, and my nephew was watching this freaking cartoon on YouTube, and it's like a little puppet called Jeffy. I don't know if you heard of this. You he seen it, bro. The puppet was like doing masturbation like gestures and shit like that, and then like a little foam was popping out of his puppet body, and I'm like, yo, what is this?
Yeah,
And my nephew obviously don't know what that is, but he's copying it, and then he's going like this in front of me and my other brother, like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had to smack him. I'm like, hey, stop watch. I'm
Yeah.
showing my brother, like, yo, stop letting him watch this shit. He's
Is
like,
that
bro, we tried to
YouTube?
block this shit already,
Uh-huh.
but it gets around because it looks like a cartoon. So like,
Yeah.
I guess the AI or the algorithm for YouTube hasn't figured out how
YouTube
to.
might hate on us for this one, though.
YouTube like, hey, shut y'all ass up. We just kidding, man. We love YouTube, man. Y'all are trying the best y'all can, man. Y'all figure this shit out, and that's everybody can't do everything. Let me shut the hell up. So anyway,
This is gonna be very viral, bro.
nah, facts. We got some good stuff going. So okay, culture, man, culture. So we got this crazy freaking trend right now, or not trend, but just like viral conversation about the 100 men versus the gorilla. So what you thinking, bro? You gonna be in the 100 to fuck with the gorilla?
Man, I don't want to be nowhere close to any animals.
Any
I mean, it's a
animal?
gorilla, bro. But
Huh?
no animals. I'm not an animal.
I would go see a gorilla in the jungle with like a gorilla expert, but
I mean, the average man, I ain't even gonna go there. They not being a gorilla. They could barely even run, you know, 1 mile without stopping. How you gonna beat a gorilla? You need energy to beat a gorilla.
100 of the like elite, 100 LeBron Jameses,
No, they're not gonna win, bro.
100 LeBrons versus a gorilla.
I mean, the gorillas need 100 punches. Imagine if you got hit by a gorilla.
You know how tired you are after 100 punches though. I actually looked this up. Gorillas, 100% are built for like short exertions of energy and immediate, quick twitch speed. They are not like long stamina animals.
Well, actually, they do, because they don't eat meat. So most animals that's like, you know, as big as a gorilla, they eat a lot of plants. So you have a lot of energy. It might be
They got
short
a lot of
bursts.
but they not gonna fight gorillas. And then you got to look at how gorillas actually fight in the wild. There's no 10-minute gorilla fight, no 2-minute gorilla fight.
We need to put up a clip of a gorilla fighting in this segment. Because
We
I
gonna-
don't think you want to fight a gorilla, bro.
No, you definitely don't want to fight the gorilla. I'm just saying, I think it would have to be 100 LeBron Jameses, though.
How big is the gorilla, though? King Kong?
Gorillas, like an average gorilla is 5.5 feet to about 6 feet standing up, silverback gorilla. But there are also like a few, let's look at the actual number real quick. Hold on, let's not lie. Let me not lie.
A gorilla
Let's
is
ask
shorter than
ChatGPT.
me.
What's the average size of a gorilla? Let's see what ChatGPT say. Okay, so 300 to 450 pounds, 5.5 feet to about 6 feet. Yeah. So LeBron 6'9", 280. That's not too far. That's not too. 100 LeBrons might be the only thing that has a chance.
And you think your punch is going to hurt a gorilla?
Nah, my punch not fucking with that gorilla. I'm dead.
That's what I'm saying.
But like you said, if the gorilla, by the time the gorilla gets to like 80, he might be tired and you might be able to rope a dope him. You know, you might be able to get him, but.
They said fight. They ain't say calm down.
Well, that's the whole situation. If you fighting him, he gotta eventually get tired. You can't just, we don't know. So I don't know. Let me go into it. But yeah, we gotta put some gorilla content right here. No, this is another question though, real quick. Funny question. Not even funny, but just interesting. Who you think will win out of a tiger and a lion?
Tiger and a lion? Tiger and a lion. Tiger.
I'll tell you why they won't. So tigers are bigger and stronger and basically more lethal than lions, but tigers usually never ever have to fight anybody their whole life. Lions, on the other hand, who are slightly smaller, slightly less strong, fight all the time. So they're trained.
So it's like somebody that grew up in the hood versus somebody that grew up in the suburbs.
Yeah, it don't matter how big you are. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Okay, gotcha.
Then the lions are lethal with it. Like, they have to protect their pride nonstop. Female lions constantly hunting.
Yeah.
Male lions constantly fighting to see who's the king.
Well, they fight in packs, so you're dealing with a pack versus
And
one
then they're
person.
protecting the pack. So if another stray lion or whatever come up, he got to fight. So tigers run one deep. They just be out chilling. They kill what they want to kill. They don't really got to fight for nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody dips when he comes around. So that's why the lion would more than likely win. Obviously, that's subjective, but like I said, trained versus untrained, similar size.
Yeah, that is true.
It makes some sense, right? Okay.
All my life I had to fight.
So, okay, where we at now? So what you think are the most underrated cities right now to travel to?
The underrated cities. Number one, I love Miami. I don't care what nobody said. Right now, every time I hear that Drake
I stay
song, I'm
talking
thinking
shit
about
about
being.
Miami.
I think about being on a yacht in all white. Just listen to that song. But Miami, see, I like places where it's hot.
Can we we gotta make the Kai, we gotta go to Miami in like June, July. I already got the venue for the JetQuest showcase in Miami. We talked to them. Shout out to the Gates Hotel, man. My people, Tony, Shayna, Natalie. Appreciate all of y'all down in Miami. But yeah, we gonna have an event there, but we definitely gonna do a yacht day. So we're gonna do the event, then we're gonna do the yacht day.
Yeah.
The very next day, a little brunch, yacht day, boom. Actually, we'll do the brunch on the yacht. That makes more sense, right?
Amazing, perfect, fantastic.
Let's go. So yeah, we definitely gonna do it. I'm not a fan of Miami though. I'm just throwing it out there. I love Miami, but at
Travel the world, bro.
the same time, I'm like, if I'm gonna spend 2 bands in 2 days, I'd rather go out the country.
Yeah.
I just really would.
The money was stretched outside the country way better than.
Maybe when we go from here to the first 50 million, then I really wouldn't give a damn. I'll be like, whatever, 2,000, 20,000, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, I'd rather go to Colombia, Bali, Thailand, Dubai, whatever. I'd rather get out the country, see somewhere I haven't seen before.
But if you're in the U.S., I mean, where else is better than? I mean, you're already in Houston. Because it's Miami first, then it's Houston, then it's Atlanta, then it's.
Nah, I'm gonna take Chicago over Atlanta.
Yeah.
Have you been to Chicago in the summertime?
No, but it's the most beautiful city they said in America. I've flown over in the wintertime. It's like a beach downtown. It's like a whole different world from Chirac.
I don't know if it's the most beautiful, but they have the best downtown architecture. I mean, New York is comparable, but like, just it's something about downtown Chicago in the summer, bro. It's a vibe. It's just a vibe. They got the boats. People take the boats out. They have some of the best rooftops I've ever seen. you know, like Chicago in the summertime is just a vibe. Like Kanye West knew what he was talking about, and he was just singing about the summertime shy. Like it's really a vibe. Top 10.
I've never been to Chicago.
We got to do Chicago this summer too.
Chicago.
We got a lot of places to go, man. We got a lot of places to go.
What's the next spot?
So, I mean, for JetQuest showcases, we are doing Miami. We got Dallas. We're going to have another one in Houston. We did the first one this year in Houston here at Sneaks. Shout out to Kai. And
Thank you.
then we did Austin earlier, right before that. We did Austin out there. Shout out to my guy, Antonio, over at the Reserve in Austin on 7th Street. And we got Dallas coming up, Phoenix, New York, and Miami. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing nothing. So those are the showcases we're doing. So if y'all don't know what a JetQuest showcase is, basically it's like just a really, really fun time. And it's a brand activation essentially for the brand JetQuest, where we introduce the company, where we've been, what we're doing, where we're going, to the local city that we're at. And we like to partner with people who are in that city, like nonprofits, local businesses, usually have some kind of a local. We prefer to do like local liquor sponsors. We usually have complimentary drinks at the event. It's just a really good time. And you get to learn about this community that we're building and what we got going on with JetQuest. And then we give the stage to the people who are the local partners and collaborators with us on that event. So like if we have a nonprofit that we really rock with what they're doing in that city, we're gonna have them be a part of that. One, because they're gonna promote it as well, and their people are gonna show up to the event. But two, we wanna bring more attention to people who are doing good shit. We want to bring more attention to people who are on their shit and just, you know,
Help them win.
getting shit done. So, yeah, help everybody win, man. Collaboration over competition. There is no competition, right? So that's what the JetQuest Showcase is about, and we're doing those in multiple cities. We're actually doing one in Dubai and Bali this year, too. So,
Dubai.
yeah, it's a lot going
That's
on.
my dream. I'm actually gonna move to Dubai one day. That's why I'm working so hard right now. So when I get rich, I can just live in Dubai.
You're going to get richer when you move to Dubai, too.
And that's why I'm working hard now.
So I want to get into, like, you know, we talked about credit, being able to use credit to travel. And, you know, I think traveling is one of the best investments you can make if you do it right. It could be a liability or an investment. You know, a lot of people travel and it's just nonstop drunk, hungover nights and, you know, pulling up and being bang. What's it called? The passport bros.
Passport.
I'm about to say bang bros.
Yo.
Hey, we all was in high school once, bro. But that's viral right there.
Yo.
But you know, like you gotta do more, bro. We all gotta be well-rounded human beings. Like, yeah, I like to turn up, we like to have fun, we like to party, we like women, but at the same time, I want to learn. I want to see culture. I want to eat the best cuisine. I want to learn about how you live, and I want to see why do y'all take a nap every day at 2 p.m. in Spain?
Yeah,
why
I
do
heard
y'all
about
eat
that.
dinner at 9 p.m.? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the cultural significance of that? I want to learn about all of this stuff, man, and I like to see these different points of view because it makes you a smarter person. It makes you more open-minded. It gives you a better perspective on shit, everything. Like when major events happen in the world, I have a network of people that I can reach out to 9 times out of 10 in the place that I seen that major event happen. Like, that's something that you really can't pay for. I remember when COVID happened, I was able to get real information from people in the ground in multiple countries because I travel. I've been traveling since I was 21. Like, I have a network of people all around the world in every continent except for Antarctica. You know what I'm saying? So when they were saying, oh, in New York, the hospitals are looking like this, I'm calling my friend. They like, oh, it hadn't looked like that in 2 weeks. Them videos you seen from 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh. I'm calling my friend in France. The news showing such and such on France. He like, yeah, it's actually like that. I'm calling my friend in Australia. They telling me what's happening in Australia. I'm talking to my friends in the hospitals. They saying, you know, it's a little bit, such and such is going on. And so getting real information in real time, because at the end of the day, it's 2025. If y'all are believing everything in the mainstream media, I'm not just going to say all mainstream media is bullshit, but bro.
Majority.
Like, pay attention to history. Don't even listen to me. Don't just study history. We live in another We live in another person's company. That's what America is. It's a company. So if you have a company, what do? You market it, you manage it, you control it, you try to grow it, and you try to eliminate liabilities. So people who don't add to it and who mess up the control of it, because a bunch of free people, free thinking people who can travel willy-nilly, go all around the world, doesn't necessarily make the easiest group to control and pull money out of.
Yeah.
Our taxes, our wages, the money that we put into the economy.
Cost of living.
Yeah, all that shit goes towards the company, the United States of America Corporation, right? So when you actually have an open-minded view, have access to different countries, maybe have a different citizenship or two. I said citizenship. Citizenship or two. And you also have a network of people around the world where you can get information from one side of the planet to the other like that. That's a free-thinking person. That's a free-minded person, an able-bodied person who can, do more than the average person. It's hard to control that kind of person. So I don't even remember where I was going with this, but just on the rant, for me, travel opens your mind. That's where I was going. Travel opens your mind because you can see, even other countries, you can see what kind of propaganda they're giving their people.
Yeah.
Like all these countries, the goal is for them to control their people at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just being able to see through the veil, like see through the matrix, as a lot of people say. Traveling helps you do that.
Because open up your eyes to, I tell people, me being born in Trinidad, coming to America, I already look at things from a different point of view.
Yeah.
It's because I traveled to America. I know what it is to live on an island for 9 years of my life. And
Eating
I know
hella fish.
Bro, eating healthy. Like, people where I'm from, they
I
live
was
to
trying to
like,
be funny.
they 85. They live to like the average person, you watch people get real old. You come
They
to
be
America.
looking like healthy as they get old,
Bro,
85?
literally.
What's the oldest person you've seen have a baby?
I don't know. I stay away from anyone that's having babies.
You stay away from what? What? What are you staying away
Anyone
from?
that's
Old
having
people?
babies.
That's the way from old people,
everybody
man.
right now having kids, man. The average man have 5 to 6 kids. I remember it used to be 4.
Really?
Yes. You'll be surprised.
I don't know any niggas in my age group
Bro.
who have 5 kids.
I can tell you why. Because
Why?
it's expensive. So it's easier to not be around than it is to claim 5, 6 kids.
So they got them, they just not with
Just look
them.
at the average rapper. The average rapper have 5 to 6 different
Rappers
kids.
aren't the average person, though.
But who do they influence?
YNs.
Exactly.
That was a great comeback. I wasn't ready for that.
It's the music,
No,
know.
that's facts. That's super
You
facts.
know.
So you're a person who uses credit. Do you use the airport lounge already?
I do, but I normally be in and out, man.
Yeah.
I done traveled and stuff so much. I tell people, getting in the plane now is like getting in the Uber. I just want to just get in and go to sleep.
I hate airports.
The average person, they really never go to the airport. When you do something so much, it's just like, it's a routine at this point. It's like, it's no different than calling an Uber, because like I said, you travel all the time. I'm always on the airplane all the time traveling. So it's like, it's just, but the people that's excited and new, they should try it out because more importantly, it's the network. Everything that you do is all about networking. Because let's say you in that lounge, they looking at you like, how you get in this lounge? They know for a fact that you got an American Express. They know that you got good credit. So it's just easier to network because it's a small
Everybody
group.
knows there's a baseline to get in there. Yeah, 100%. Let's
So-
take a quick commercial break from our sponsors over at JetQuest. I gotta use the restroom. Oh, man, so I really wanted to kind of go back. I think I was making a point earlier about just the environment for children. This is big to me because my parents created a great environment for us, but at the same time, we have a great environment for developing middle-class workers and then a great environment for developing people who are elite or business owners, entrepreneurs. And I think that just, for me, my grandfather was an entrepreneur on both sides. Well, a business owner, right? So my grandfather, his name was Andrew McCaskill on my dad's side. He was one of the first black politicians in America. He ran for some form of like city council in Pontiac, Michigan in the 50s. This is like, an amazing feat while also owning a business. My grandfather, my mother's side, he was a landowner who had his own farm, had animals, and he also owned a furniture store for a good minute. And so it definitely was in my blood. But my father's like also a partial entrepreneur on and off, ran a business, went back to work, ran a business, went back to work. So I saw entrepreneurship, high, lows, in betweens, but not necessarily. And again, my father, like I said, in between, so never really established a self-sustaining business. So there was never a point where he was out of the business to be able to teach and explain the business per se. I just saw from example. So, I feel like for a lot of us, black people, just, even people, period, the average person is middle class or lower. So we don't have an environment that teaches you how to, you out, Kai? Everybody say bye to Kai. She actually came in the camera. Thank you. So everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that environment that's conducive to creating genius. Like I said, everybody has genius in them. Everybody has preferences of what they're going to end up liking and wanting to do, and they're going to be naturally great at those things if they're developed. And everybody's different, right? So they're all these different skill sets or whatever. But most of us never, ever, ever get put into a disciplined environment of structured love that grows that's genius, right? And so a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to put my kid in, this because it's too much. Like, I want to let them be a kid. You don't have to not let your kid be a kid to not let them just watch whatever they want on YouTube nonstop. You don't have to not let them be a kid to teach them how to do push-ups by the time they're 6 years old. You don't have to not let them be a kid to explain to them why you're telling them to do things. You can't just be telling a kid, oh, do this, do that. You have to explain to them why. And this is a sales tactic. You probably know this from network marketing. Don't tell anybody to do anything without explaining why you're telling them to do it.
Yeah.
So, example, at the age of 21, my mother, love my mom. My mom probably died for me. But she also would probably kill me. And I know I stressed the hell out of my mom. I love you, Mom. But at 21, she's telling me, you need to get your credit right. You need to do this, da-da-da, you need to pay this. In my brain, I'm like, this is me starting my entrepreneur journey. I'm like, I'm finna be a millionaire in like 3-4 years. Fuck credit.
I said the same thing. My stepdad ain't helped me since on my credit.
What Glorilla say? Could give a fuck about my credit score. I might be rich as fuck tomorrow. I'm like, credit? I'm not finna get an apartment. I got a car already. I got a spot. Why do I need credit? Why you keep talking to me about credit? Let me worry about this. This is my adult journey now. But if my mom, who also was not using credit for investments, if she was, or if she had the knowledge, and she maybe does have the knowledge, I don't know, because still to this day, my family doesn't have investments that we've made based on credit. I do, which is the company and the other things I'm doing. But so anyway, if she had been able to say, hey, look, idiot, you can utilize your credit to invest in the thing that you're doing right now that will get you to the million quicker. You don't have to use your own money to pay for these educational courses, to pay for these trainings, to pay for these conventions that you're going to pay for this marketing that you're paying for, to pay for the systems and structure to build your company. You can use this money, and I'm going to show you structure so that you can also create a strategy and a plan to pay off, not just to make your money back, but to pay off the credit in a short amount of time. Is being able to, have that knowledge from a young age. It's what creates the people who are here while the rest of us are,
trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. So I just said all that to say, man, it's a big, big thing where we have to make sure if you didn't get it as a kid, you need to be learning it. That's another reason why we wanted to do this. We do want to have some fun, turn the hell up, and have a bunch of dope guests, but we want to be able to give some kind of information. And I think at the core of most people's problems is money in this world. We live in a financially driven plane right now. And so even for you guys to support JetQuest and come on a trip, it takes money. For you to go eat today, it's gonna take money. So like if we can educate everybody on those basic principles, I think that's important. But even more so, other than just those principles, like I said, final summary on this is just creating the environment, man. Like we have to get the knowledge, and we need to create discipline around our children. Even if it's just like, hey, my son has a structured schedule. He doesn't realize I don't have a son, by the way. I'm just saying exactly. He doesn't realize it's a structured schedule, but he has to go along with it. Him waking up at a certain time, working out, eating a certain meal, watching certain things, me reading him a book, me stretching him. He doesn't realize he's being put through a regimen, but he is, and that will naturally transition to him being able to do it on his own. I had a friend who was literally like 19 years old. She had $30,000 saved, and of course, that comes from her mother, who was an immigrant, who was huge on not spending any additional money and keeping all of their money, right? But her father was frivolous with it, but also an entrepreneur, so she had that risk gene. Everybody's not risk adverse and can take risk with the money. So she was able to have the discipline to save while still having the ability and the risk, management to be able to try shit with the money that she had built up. And so, like I said, the environment means everything. Pay attention, man. Don't wait till the kids are 13 and try to start taking shit serious. The genius is built from the time they're born because their brains are wide open. That is the time to implement that stuff. Obviously, I'm not making a 2-year-old do 100 push-ups a night. You start where they are. But we got to create that, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I don't know where that came from. But I just felt that on my heart, man, and I think that'll be good content. The world needs to see that.
We love the kids.
We love the kids, man.
It's all about the next generation, because everything you just said is kind of what I've been doing with my son, like even like him. He be like, give me broccoli. Most kids ain't eating broccoli, but because I feed him, I train him a certain way that everything that I eat, he eat it. So it's normally a kid wouldn't want to do, but it's because he been doing it for so long. Like, he can't wait to get the fresh juices and stuff like that. Most kids, give me the Capri Sun, He is just trained over and over. And it's like, if you train your kids to do the right thing, they're naturally just going to do whatever you teach them to do because they only know what they see from you. Yeah. So, it's all about the kids, though. Man, but I want it done.
It's that I want it done. I want 3. Hopefully I can find me a beautiful, intelligent woman who's well-traveled, who's a business mind.
Trust fund.
No, she don't even need to be a trust fund, baby. Trust fund. That could be a great, but she don't even have to be. She just need to be ambitious and have a great heart. Preferably can make really good content too, because we doing a lot of traveling right now, baby. I need help with the content.
You want a business partner?
I want a life partner.
Life partner.
You know what I'm saying? I want a life partner. If she just happens to help with the business, I'm already taking that to the moon. Just help me along the way with some of the stuff. Like that's how I feel. And the lifestyle is very, right now it's all over the place. So I would have to, if I was to try to date somebody right now, it would have to be somebody with a very flexible schedule or with their own business, honestly. Otherwise, for me, I'm partially sober and single the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a lot of trips, man. We got a lot of traveling to do. We got 8 more trips for the rest of the year. We've got like 5 JetQuest showcases we got to do in different cities around the country and 2 out of the country. And then I probably have like 5 different major conferences / tech events that I'm going to this year as well. So I mean, it's
a busy year.
This is the most I've ever traveled in my life, and we're starting a goddamn podcast. So it would be tough, but if a woman saw the vision and she's down for this ride, man, I think she would love it because the vision is very clear, and if she can get it and she can add to it, I'm all about not not taking assets for granted. Some of my situations, but just like I've seen a woman start to become a part of my regular routine and add to it. And it might have been somebody I wasn't even normally thinking that I would date, but it made me start to see how much they were bringing value in the form of consistency. Yeah. And so I'm like, I might need to take this a little more serious than I was thinking. Yeah. So anyway, what about you, man? So you not trying to get married? What you on?
Never, 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 never.
Never
we
again?
can get married, but there's no paperwork involved. I understand that the pen is mightier than the sword, so I'm not signing my name on nothing. I don't even want to own a house in my name. I don't want nothing with my name attached to any type of ownership.
Yeah.
Just because I've
You going
seen
trust
too many
or
stories.
you doing da-da-da?
I own nothing. Own nothing, control everything.
That's all we gonna say for now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
no, I'm never getting married though. Marriage is great. I watched my mom. I said they had a great marriage. They still together to this day.
Yeah.
I just feel as though it's just not for me. I'm more of a, I don't like being controlled. And I'm not saying relationship control you, but it's an extra job to me for my lifestyle because I've always just been free to just work on my business and things like that. But once you're an entrepreneur, you got to sacrifice time with that person. It's just like my business and my goals and my dreams and my son comes before
How old
any
are you?
type of relationship. I'm 32.
So yeah,
I've been in one relationship, bro, my whole entire life. One,
Okay.
and that's my son, mom.
Yeah. That makes sense. So you're not just wilding at all.
Nah, I'm trying to get rich. I might wild out after I get rich. But right now it's
We'll
a
see.
sacrifice.
It's definitely coming soon, bro. We have so much momentum going right now, so much motion happening, just in the city and around the world with JetQuest and stuff happening. I mean, literally, I was at the club or at Sneaks here yesterday talking with Kai, and a girl walks in. It's like, yo, you're with JetQuest, right? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, like, hey, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm like, that type of stuff is starting to happen, and that's amazing.
We've been
You know
putting in the
what
work though. Yeah, think about it. This didn't happen overnight. We've been building since we met. We've been hustling like, hey, bro, we got this event. Like, hey, you also put me on the people that also help me, kind of grow my business, things like that. But just being able to partner up with the right people that you guys are working together because, we could do a lot of great things by ourselves, but when you actually have people that
You can't do anything great by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself. So it's always about
even people who
collaborating.
freaking play individual sports don't do it by themselves.
You can't.
They have trainers, coaches, fucking film people, like mental coaches, therapists. Like everybody has to have some kind of support. And that was another thing I think we were just talking about. That might have been you, I don't remember, but talking about getting second chances, right? Like, I was mentioning how I met the guy. He was an Indian dude, and now he's super successful, probably a millionaire or close. And he was just explaining, and he was around the same age as me, and he was just explaining like, bro, self-made and this and that. But then he down the line contradicted himself and was like, when I first started my business, there was a period where my dad helped me out and paid for my rent for 6 months. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually an amazing thing, and I'm happy that happened for him because that's one of the things that allowed him to become successful in the time frame that he has become successful. But what a lot of us don't get is that chance.
Yeah.
We don't get that second chance. A lot of us don't get that first chance because his father also was his first investor, right? So you got to think, how many of us are just as intelligent as that guy, don't get that first investor, and if we do somehow are able to get the business going and running, we get that first investor, or we are able to make the business sustainable without an investor, but we don't get second chances, whether that be from another investor or whether that be from our customers or our fan base or just our family and friends.
My family did that though. They helped me out. I can honestly say they didn't give me any money per se, but I was able to move back in,
Right.
take over. I remember I had lost it all and I had moved back in my parents. It was their closet. It was a room, extra room because, all the kids are grown.
It was like a room that was a
It was
closet?
literally a small room, but it was a closet,
Okay.
And I remember moving back home and they never charged me for rent ever. So I was able to live at home, do whatever I want to do. I'm building my business. They let me just do what I want. And still to this day, I just been there. So I always have a place to stay that I can be stress-free. My parents now like, help me with the gas. And it's because my stepdad got good credit. So everything is already paid. He paid it all on credit, So it just kind of makes things just way easier for me because, if they have a slow month, guess what?
It's a stepping stone at
It's
the
a
end of the day.
stepping
Them being able to have that was a baseline for you. So it's like in trading, you have a stop loss. Like the worst that you can go is at the stop loss. Like you coming out the trade when they hit the stop loss. So that's your stop loss.
Literally.
Like worst case, assed out, spent all the money, fucked the bread up. We back at the crib getting the game plan going back again?
I messed my mom credit up on the way. I messed my grandmother credit up.
Damn, you fuck Granny credit up?
Man, I messed
Sheesh,
Granny.
Shout out to Granny, man.
Man, shout out to Granny. Listen.
Is your credit? Is she still alive?
No, but I used her credit all the way up until she passed.
Man, you ran Granny's credit to the ground.
I was able to get one of my first.
That's wild, y'all.
My first dream cars, my BMW M6. You know,
Shout out to Granny, man.
It was
RIP.
on Granny's credit. You know, because I messed my credit up. I told you 2014.
She wasn't using it.
She wasn't using it.
Yeah, she wasn't using it.
Then she let me move in her basement and live for free. I then took over her house for
Oh,
free.
man.
She was happy to just have me in there. Never one time my grandmother ever asked me to pay any bill in her house. So I've been able to, I've been lucky. You know, I grew up Costco's, like my peoples ain't rich or nothing like that, but they got good credit. So my stepdad put on the Costco's and Sam's card.
Yeah, having that good setup, nah, for sure. And so that's an example. Like now you have a successful business funding and credit business. You know what I'm saying? Nice car, all this stuff, great lifestyle, taking care of your son, doing big things. But like that's a prime example of having that system. And you have like anomalies. I wouldn't say you're an anomaly. You are an anomaly, but at the same time, I would say your environment allowed you to thrive to what you're becoming. Obviously, you still have to have ambition.
Yeah. I didn't grow up in a struggle environment, meaning like I went to school every day. I didn't go to school. I didn't eat. It's just the struggles that I hear most of my friends.
I don't even think it's about the struggle environment. I think it also, well, for sure that has a lot to do with it, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's also just not having any of the information. Mm-hmm. Like you could grow up in a decent neighborhood but lack complete information, and your mindset is 100% locked in on middle class living.
Yeah.
And how to succeed at that. Like there's a lot of people who are great at getting to six figures but could never touch $1 million because they don't have the risk temperament.
Scared to lose it.
You know what I'm saying? Like they easily can go find a job. They know how to do resumes and interviews like nobody's business, and can go make six figures and create that lifestyle instantly. That's their subconscious base, six-figure job. But when it comes time to take it up to $1 million, there's a block. And so I think, like I said, even going back to the environments for the kids, creating those environments that creates pure confidence because the kid has discipline, and this is the easiest way to say it, he has seen himself create results. It's nothing that's magical about it. Just being able to look back and say, I've done this, that. It creates confidence. So you creating the structure for the child by default creating results out of the structure you gave him, gives himself confidence and no lack of self-belief, now feels he can do anything. And with new information, he now has new opportunity.
Yeah.
And he can achieve and attack that new opportunity because he believes he can do it. So that's what you are.
Once you do one, it's like how you just said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you feel like you can be successful in one business, anything that you do, you just feel like it's gonna be successful as long as I just stick at, like the podcast, for example. This is episode 1.
You just need to do 50.
You just gotta just keep going. And
really,
know
it's 100. I just said 50 to you and the old girl because I was like, let me give them a chunk. But we gonna do 100.
100 is a lot though.
100, panorama to 100, man.
I think we can do it though. I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna have the biggest podcast, honestly, that they ever seen
in the world.
It's never been done before. The JetLounge.
And on top of that, man, like it's not gonna happen all this year. We're gonna try to squeeze in a couple this month, and definitely gonna try to squeeze in a couple next month. And when I'm back and forth out the country traveling, like as soon as I get back, I'm gonna be hitting up Miguel and Jesus, like, hey, I get back on Tuesday, I'm getting a fresh cut. Wednesday, I need to be in the studio on Thursday. Let's go. I'm gonna hit up Kai, be like, hey, we need the studio. Can we come in 8 o'clock? If we gotta get at 8 a.m., we gotta get at 8 a.m., right? So
soon they might see us, shoot one in Dubai.
We
might take it international.
All around the world. Hey, Jesus, by the way, Miguel was telling us that you got to set up with the streaming. We got to do the streaming on the next one, so we're going to talk about that afterwards. We still rolling. We just talking, you know what I'm saying? We just talking, but we got to do the streaming. I want to do Twitch. We want to get this on everything.
The streamers now.
Yeah, we got to do the streaming. And then obviously if y'all don't know, should I give them the game? I'm going to give you the game. They have so many AI platforms that can chop up your long form content. I'm giving y'all the game because none of y'all going to actually go do it. Y'all do it and do one episode, and you're not gonna do it anymore. We're gonna do 100 episodes, and think about 100 episodes on a streaming platform, YouTube and Twitch, and maybe one other if we can get it all on multiple. Then you have the recorded video on YouTube, and then on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And then you have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts for all of those short form clips for 100 episodes. Probably have 100 clips per episode.
We got a lot of work to do. This is gonna be a busy year.
A lot of work. But so that's why we gotta get a great third co-host. And we gotta get some great other hosts to be able to bring in out here, because we're gonna have a lot of shit to talk about, man. It's gonna get fun. But we was just going in though. We was just going in with the
Soon we'll talk about how Houston is not a real place.
So hey, I'm gonna let y'all know, man. Houston. Let me see. Somebody just texted me. So Houston is one of the best cities in the world. Why is Houston one of the best cities in the world? Because there is a lot of opportunity here, right? Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the world, some of the best food. We 100% have some of the most beautiful women in the world.
Hands down, I know.
Bro, I've been literally all around the world, and Houston is for sure top 25 places in the world to find beautiful women. Are they your wife? Maybe not. But they are beautiful, bro. I was with a beautiful idiot just this week. Like, man. And you know, the whole time I'm just contemplating, should I just go ahead and leave? And then she would stand up and spin around or something like that, and I'll just be like, I'll stay another 10 minutes. But, bro, Houston is just like, you know, that's why I told you, like, I just rather
travel the world.
Not even focus on it right now. Not even put energy towards it, and just hope you attract it. Not even hope, but just attract it. Work on yourself, become better. But anyway, Houston, we have the medical district. We have, I think, the biggest medical district in the world.
I don't even think it's a district, it's a city.
It's its own little downtown area. Yeah, it's huge, right?
Houston had what, three? So, like, going back to what you're saying, Houston has 3 skyscraper city in one city. You got downtown, Galleria, Medical Center, and then what else? There's a whole bunch of skyscrapers as well. So we got.
That's it. That's the 3.
That's the 3?
Yeah, downtown,
Medical
Galleria.
Center and Galleria.
Yeah, Medical Center, yeah. So we got that. They have the port. You have the energy corridor. You know, Houston is a huge energy city. Houston is huge for oil. You know, a lot of conservative money. Tech is starting to break its way, bring its neck into the Houston scene, right? I think it's going to be a minute before Houston becomes a big venture capital city and a tech or a startup city, because there's so many older conservative investments to be made that it's hard to make a bet. It's hard to convince somebody who's used to, you know, reliable 5 to 10x investments that, hey, we're going to invest in 20 companies, 19 are for sure going to fail, but the 20th is going to pay for all of the investments plus the profit. It's hard to convince them, and it's going to take 5 to 10 years. It's hard to sell people in Houston on that, because for so long we've been conservative investing. And
It's a lot of money in Houston, though.
yeah, but you got to think, so like going to the Bay, in the Bay, you know, you had people force their way to create that Silicon Valley, and it didn't happen overnight. I would, you know, this is a 40-something year, more than 40-something. You're going all the way back to like IBM. I think IBM is in California. Let's ask ChatGPT real quick before I just say something I don't know what I'm talking about. Where was IBM based in its heyday?
Silicon, California.
Let's see. I mean, okay. New York.
New York.
Did they have a base in Silicon Valley? ChatGPT. Did they have a base in Silicon Valley? Okay. Yes. Okay, they did. Why didn't you say that in the first place? Okay, they literally had a base in San Jose in the Bay, and in the Bay, since 1952. That's what I was asking. So sometimes you have to double check with your ChatGPT, guys. It's not always super.
Like Wikipedia.
Yeah, you got to double check everything. But anyway, the point, you have the first computer giant was established there. So that established the temperament for the people to think tech, to think computers. And as it developed, all the others followed. So like I said, the culture here investment-wise is those other industries I mentioned. And it might be another 10, 20 years for that possibly happens in Houston. But anyway, back to Houston being a dope place. So much opportunity. Entrepreneurship is rampant here. We have the best hospitality, I think, in America. Obviously excluding Miami and Vegas, because those cities they were created for those purposes. Miami was built, South Beach was, orchestrated, even though, like, everything about it was made for tourism. Houston was not made for tourism.
At all.
But somehow it's become a tourist city. But it's because we have the most lit nightlife. It's actually a debt trap. It's a toxic.
Once you get hooked in the nightlife, listen, you outside every day, every night. There's something going on in the city.
I seen people lose their bag. I seen women lose their soul coming out here, bro.
It's not a real place.
It's a crazy place, man. I had people that I know move from other cities. Like, I'm gonna start the business when I get out there. Man, they end up working at camp and just end up hoeing for a year. Like, it's a crazy place, making fast money. But yeah, Houston can definitely make or break you. But shit, we love it.
I love Houston.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm always gone too. Like, you got to get out of the city you're from. You moved from your country.
Come to America, and then, I fell in love with Houston when I went to the Galleria for the first time. I got lost in I said, this is the Galleria?
Was you shopping in?
No, I just came to Houston for the first time, 2015. And I fell in love, and I moved here a couple months after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I've lived in Dallas for 2 years. I lived in LA for 4 years. Did like a little 3-month stint in Bali. Definitely gonna go back, but I'm a huge believer in, like, you gotta get out of your hometown. You gotta have those experiences outside of where you're from. You gotta get around people who don't know the old you.
Yeah.
So you can create that new version of yourself. Y'all gotta realize this life is so short. If you live to be 100, that's still a super short time in the timeline of, existence. So if you can you gotta create your avatar of yourself. What is the dream version of yourself, the most elite version of yourself, and chip away at that person every day. But here's the kicker. This is the actual secret. You know the movie The Secret? This is the actual secret. Act like that person already every day. Mm-hmm. Like an actual actor. Like, be Denzel Washington every day and act like the dream version of yourself. And guess what you're gonna start doing? All the little fucking things that are going to turn you into that person.
You gotta be delusional.
It's delusion. Like, they say Heath Ledger, after playing the Joker, was so insane, like, that's why he committed suicide. But he became delusionally amazing in that role, R.I.P. to him. And that's a crazy, interesting example. I don't want to say amazing, but like that's a crazy example, because that's literally the best ever villain role ever played. I could watch that movie 100 times. It's so good, but it's a prime example. You will eventually believe you're that person, and guess what? You will become that person. I'm not even gonna get into the science of it. We'll say that for another episode, but y'all should go read the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. And he talks about this, man. The science behind it, not anything esoteric or magic, the real neuroscience and quantum physics around the signals that your brain sends out, and then how you're able to change your thought process, and how your thought process changes what you attract around you based off the energy, right?
It goes back to that secret, though. That's the first book I've read in documentary. I think I watched it like almost 15 years ago, man. That changed my life forever. Still to this day, like, you know, if you look at my
The Secret, definitely sparked the
that's
Secret
all the
movie.
secret, you know.
Yeah.
Every time I look at my phone, I want to manifest.
Look at mine. Look at mine.
Greatness.
So on mine, I got. If you're politically sensitive, please relax. But I just have a bunch of great people. I got a picture of me, Michael Jackson, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Tupac, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and Kanye West. I made this a year and a half ago.
Hey,
Before
man,
that nigga-
listen, Ye changed the world, man.
He did.
He
You
inspired
know,
all of us.
Regardless of how he is now, like, this man's life's work are greater than 99.9% of people who will ever live, right? What he's accomplished is immaculate. It's amazing. But on the top, it says, how would you act if you were the most successful, powerful, influential person in the world? And so I look at this every day, and I look at these great people, and I think about how they executed the greatness that they did in their life. And that allows me to think brave. It allows me to take risk. It allows me to make hard decisions. It allows me to stand in the face of, like, everybody's looking this way, I'm gonna look this way. It allows me to do that with confidence and not needing a bunch of people behind me to co-sign that stuff, because that's how they were.
Yeah.
And that's what made them great, right?
You gotta be different, man. You gotta be part of the 1% club, because
Gotta be part of the 1%.
people just see success and they hear it. It all the way we're saying it all sounds really good, but to really be successful, this is one of the hardest things that you'll ever do in your life. You know, I wake up 4:30 to go to the gym. I don't have to. I can go 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, but guess what I'm doing? I'm programming
You
myself.
could be a fat rich nigga.
You know, but I just choose to just sacrifice, bro. It's a lot of work. It's hard. It's times where I just wake up and I'm just like, man, I don't feel like doing it, but I do it anyway. But
Yeah.
I've seen the results, and you know, it also said that it changes your life. Once you start taking your fitness serious, you start making more money. And then guess what? Since I've been taking it so serious, I've been making way more money
And
now.
people are going to respect you physically more because of your presence.
Because they know that it's hard. It's easy to make a
discipline.
lot of money, but just getting up and doing the same things over and over. And that's another reason why I share my workout videos every single day, because I'm showing you, like, hey, I don't even like being in the gym.
Right.
But I'm doing it anyway, and I'm getting up and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it to my best. But guess what? You're now starting to see the results. But now you're also looking at, man, you're a total different person. You got more energy, you're traveling more,
More
you're
money.
doing more work, you're making more money, you're looking better, you're feeling better, and it all ties into becoming successful.
And that also ties into talking about the kids. Like, you're creating an environment and a person for your son to look up to. Like, a lot of people don't realize that they're the Tonto to their kid's superhero. Your kid's superhero
You.
is somebody else. It should be you.
It should be you.
It's supposed to be you. You know, and it's gonna be you when the kid sees that it's not even about you becoming uberly successful. It's about you being transparently accountable with your success and you chasing your life's dreams. And your children know when you're a BSer, when you make excuses and, oh, I didn't do that because, you know, it was too hard, or, you know, I had to go to school so I didn't chase my dream, or whatever. Like, kids know when something is an excuse, right? 100%. You can go to school and chase a dream. You can fail and try again. You can have a kid and still go to law school. There's all these things that people say that, oh, this is what your kids know. Fight through it. Be somebody that they'll be proud of, but it more so that you'll be proud of. Like, I just went on a rant on Instagram the other day, and I was talking about how in some of the worst parts of my journey, you know, so you've been in one of them, it was certain points where I was just like, God damn, you know, this is good. This is going to make the story good. This is actually kind of what I needed, because, you know, I needed, like, you can't just have a complete success story, you know what I mean? It can't just be, oh, yeah, I started traveling and we went from 3 trips a year to 100 and now we're millionaires. Like, nah, we lost hella money. We went in debt. Like,
a journey.
bro, we had people steal from us, try to shut this shit down. We went through different, like, you got to go through.
That emotional roller coaster is one of the realest things. And I tell people to do, just keep the bar down.
Nah, man.
Because life gonna keep life in. And it's like, if you complain every time that something happened,
Well, that was a good analogy.
you know, life gonna beat you up.
I caught that like 3 seconds.
Life
4
be
seconds
life
late.
in, you know? So I just try to tell people all the time, like, no matter what happens, bro, you gotta just keep going. I mean, that's how I'm programmed. Like, something crazy can happen today. If I can't change the situation, I'm not gonna trip off of it.
Yeah.
If I can control it, it's a different story. But it's a lot of work, man. But we just make it look so easy, and people just, oh, I see you. I know what you dealing with trying to build a company, but on the outside looking in, they just think, oh, you so lucky, you get to travel the. It's a lot
you don't
of
know
work.
how many times a day I hear, oh man, you travel, your lifestyle's amazing.
If only they knew.
I'm showing people the Instagram, they're like, oh man, I can't believe that's what you get to do it, bro. They don't know.
You don't know.
They don't know. And so I don't say that to like deter people. One thing, it should empower you to stop comparing your life to everybody's, man. Stop comparing your fucking life to Instagram highlight reels, right? I try to be very transparent and show y'all my regular everyday stuff so y'all can see the real grind that I'm putting in.
Right.
You can go look at my story right now. Shows me waking up at 6. I'm outside running and working out by 7. I had a meeting at 8. I posted another meeting at 9. I was getting a haircut in here at 9:30. We setting up. We starting the podcast. I got another meeting at 4 right after this. Like, I try to show that stuff, the boring shit, so people can be like, I seen the journey.
Yeah.
It worked. So obviously I'm not showing every single thing, but I'm showing the work.
It's hard to hate when you showing the blueprint, because guess what? If I can do it, you can do it too. But most people are not just willing to do it, bro. It's a lot of work.
It's a hell of work.
And you gotta do it every day.
Yeah. But at the same time, my temperament is not one that could do anything else. I couldn't work no job for my whole life. I couldn't build somebody else's business my whole life. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. That's my temperament, right?
No, it's a lot wrong with that.
No,
because look, entrepreneurship is hard, but working a job is one of the hardest things, bro, because what you're sacrificing is your mental
It's
health.
freedom. But look, this is what I was gonna say, because I don't fuck with jobs at all. I can't do it. But if you're approaching a job like a partnership in a business, you can utilize it. It's about your intent. I tell my brother, or I've been telling my brothers, like, yo, we need to get this credit, get real estate. Like, my brother right now has a 6-figure remote job. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is the time to work on your skill sets, grow your network, use that job as flexibility to pay for some investments, and let's become an owner. My brother's now a landlord. He's got somebody renting his house now, right?
Congratulations.
Shout out to you, Jordan. You know, my other brother makes 6 figures. I don't know if he's making any investments yet, but I know all of them have great credit also, and we're talking about the next things that we will do as a family. And so you can be an employee and still become a boss, an owner, and freedom should be everybody's goal. Freedom comes through owning assets. So if you're not owning these assets that are paying your bills, living expenses, plus, then you're gonna end up working for the rest of your life. And life is too short, man. I think, you know, coming from somebody who I've been traveling since I was 21, like, this is a beautiful world. Don't let the news tell you that the world is so evil, because yes, there's evil people.
Everywhere.
There's bad shit happening, but there's amazing shit happening. There's beautiful people. There's good things happening. People care about other people. I've traveled. I remember one time, man, I went to Singapore, and I get off the airport. I had a 12-hour layover, 15-hour layover in Singapore. Let me get some water. But I had a 15-hour layover in Singapore, something like this. So I'm like, I'm gonna take the train over. I bought a night at Marina Bay Sands, $500. This was, like I said, back then you cannot get a night at the Marina Bay Sands for $500 no more. Don't try. Unless you maybe have some kind of crazy hookup. So get off the airport, take the train. There's a woman who sees me visibly confused, trying to look at where I'm going and what stop I'm gonna get off at. She stops and asks me, hey, where are you trying to get to? I'm like, I'm going to Marina Bay Sands. She's like, oh, I'll show you where to go. And so she's trying to show me, and I'm still very confused. She's like, don't worry about it. I'll just wait with you. She skips her stop, which is like 4 stops before mine, and waits with me, gets off, and shows me to the direction to walk towards, tells me bye. I've never seen this lady again.
Wow.
I would have never did that shit.
Like, take stop number 3.
Yeah, I'm finna give you a text. I'll be like, hey, look, find me on Facebook. I'll send the address. Like, I'm finna miss my stop to go 4 more stops and have to get off the bus and come back. Now I gotta go back in the line. Nah, but in all seriousness, you know, maybe now, like, if I would have seen somebody who looks obviously not from my country and they're just super confused, you know, that lady probably has a great life. You know, that's a person who loves themselves. Like, to be able to do that and give that back to me, that's a super small gesture, but it's honestly huge.
Yeah.
She didn't have to do that shit at all.
Because Tommy's your most valuable asset, and she, you know, she probably had
Gave
something
a
going
complete
on.
stranger. I don't even think I for sure don't remember her name. But yeah, like I said, that was something where you experience stuff like that and you're like, bro, there's 100% good in the world. I was talking to my dad. He woke up my parents, still wake up and turn on the news, and I'm just like, man,
Turn that off.
how do y'all do that, man? Just it was literally like murder, rape, shooting, this person, this Trump is a this, hate. And I'm like, bro, there's other things happening in the world. Like, yes, there's certain political things that you maybe should be aware of. There's certain, economic things you need to be aware of. There's certain cultural things you need to be aware of. And if you're a sports fan, you want to know if your sports team won, I guess. But there's good shit happening in the world that is also important. There's people who are making donations that are putting kids through college. Mm-hmm. Why isn't that the first thing? Why can't we have, if it's so important to say all the negative shit, why don't we do this? Why don't we say, put all the positive shit in the morning and put the negative shit at 12 o'clock when everybody's in lunch? Yeah. But like,
you'll be in a whole different mood, bro. I don't watch TV at all. I don't watch the news. I tell my people all the time. I don't even know. Turn off the TV and turn on your life. Because literally, when you...
Wait, say that again.
Turn off the TV and turn on your life. Meaning
turn his TV off. Turn his TV off.
I don't even know what's going on in the world, bro. Like, I don't... If it's not on social media, if I see it, it's like, oh, okay, cool, and I go about it. But I don't watch TV, bro. I haven't had a TV in, like, 12 years, bro.
Funny thing. So, yes, my dad is one of the main ones. Love my dad, man. He's a very...
Shout out to Pops.
Yeah, shout out to my dad, man, for real. Love my dad. He's a very... Always thinks he's right. Never want to be wrong. He will default being correct to be right, if he can. So, but a lot of times he is right. Very smart guy. But he's like, you got to know what's going on in the world, as if there's no other way to get important information than watching 45 minutes of negativity to start your day. But this is also our older generation, they, especially minorities, they don't understand the power of the subconscious mind. Most of them.
What you think about is what you become about.
They don't understand utilizing your freaking brain to send out signals to attract what you want. And how your entire environment, from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep, and even while you're asleep, is nonstop attracting everything that you're experiencing while you're alive as a human.
Yeah, manifestation, bro. It's real.
And if they did understand it, bro, they would... fuck knowing what's happening in the world. What's happening in your world? What are you creating? What are you doing for you, yourself, your family, your community? But to go on top of that, when I was in Dominican Republic, just this last week, talking with a girl from Spain that I met. She was hanging out with our group, and I'm like, hey, when do you leave? She's like, I leave on Thursday, but I don't actually know if we're going to be able to go home. By the way, she's saying all this in Spanish. I understand a lot of Spanish, and
Poquito.
Muy poquito, mami. I understand a lot of Spanish, but I can speak very little. My pronunciation is good, though. I just need more vocab. Anyway, so she's telling me, like, yeah, well, there was a blackout in Spain and Portugal. I'm not watching the news. I'm not even on social media, but I'm with somebody from Spain. This is the power of traveling, bro. You having a network of people from around the world will always become informed. And you will always have direct connections with what's happening around the world and with these places when you travel. Because the world is so much bigger than your backyard in Houston. Like,
the world's a huge place.
If it's a tornado or earthquake coming, you're going to find out about that. Somebody's going to text you. You're going to see it on social media. You don't got to watch the news for it. But, man, let's get into some of these trips, man. We got a lot of trips coming up. I want to talk about...
Tell them all the trips, man.
We got Barcelona. We got Guatemala. So Barcelona is June 24th through the 30th. We got Guatemala after that, July. I don't even want to say the date. I don't remember it, but it's like towards the end of July. We got Playa del Carmen, August 21st through the 25th. That'll probably be the most people.
I might be in Mexico.
Yeah, you got to do that one. That'll probably be the most people on a trip this year. I want to get 100.
Mexico.
I want to get 100 people on that trip. We already got like 30 right now. It's still May. Then we got Bali. Then we have Egypt. No. We have Bali. Then we have... Is it Egypt right after that? Bali, Egypt, Thailand, and then Dubai. I don't remember in that. I think it's in that exact order. Yes. So we got a lot of trips coming up, man. I'm super excited. This is the first year we ever did 10 trips. We're going to hit past the 25 trip mark, and next year we're going to hit the 30 trip mark. So just like on this, I said our goal is to get to 50 and then to 100. With me, I didn't never necessarily say I wanted to get to 50 trips, but I knew the goal was to get to a point where the tech platform we're building and the amount of hosts that we have will allow us to have years where we're doing hundreds of trips. So by default, I just have to continue doing trips. Like, it's not even a thing of like just how many can we do? Let's do them. Let's keep it pushing. We're building the brand. We're building the name. We're creating more content. We're making it happen. What about you, man? What are you actually coming to Mexico?
I'm coming to Mexico. I am coming to Mexico. You guys heard it. I'm coming to Mexico. I'm coming to Mexico.
I believe it.
Listen, I have the time freedom to travel all the time. I just need a real reason to.
I'm going to give you the special partner deal too. So
of course, we locked in.
I'm gonna give you the deal.
You got my word. I'm there. Shake on it. Listen, I'm there. Mexico.
Hey, look me dead in the eyes.
Mexico.
Through the shades.
You gonna see me in Mexico.
Through the shades. Toast. You going to Mexico?
I've been working. I've been preparing
Jesus
myself.
Miguel, y'all coming? We
Y'all
need some
coming to
translators.
Listen, we gonna shoot an episode in Mexico.
Hey, for real, we might
on the beach.
We might need to go there early. What you think, Anna? We might need to do that. We might need to get there early and shoot a podcast on the beach, bro.
On the beach.
That'll be the first time y'all did that, huh? Yeah. How much is it to carry all this shit in the airport? You said what? Okay. Now, and then we're going to talk about that for real. We got to, okay,
Mexico,
so a couple things we got to do. Yeah, a couple things we got to do. We got to get the streaming stuff set up, bro. We got to figure that out. Let's sit down and talk about that. And we can definitely talk about getting Mexico set up.
On the beach, though. We're going to do it with the ocean in the background while we do same setup.
And if you can show me how to do that. Y'all watching this podcast, bro, you don't got to be perfect. I'm literally asking questions and figuring this shit out while we're on the podcast. This is a learning process. So, because when we go on our trips, Jesus, I want to start streaming multiple parts of every trip, right? So the podcast, streaming, regular content, plus JetQuest specific trip content, right? So we're just killing them from every angle this year. So I need to know, like, what are the platforms that are the best to be able to stream on, like, YouTube, Instagram Live, TikTok Live? Because I've heard there's ones that allow you to do all of them. Yeah?
Be everywhere.
Y'all heard it here first, man. Shout out to Panorama. They're giving us the game.
Thank you.
Take their course. It's $5,000 per package. They're going to show you how to do everything from top to bottom, and that gets you your first few episodes, right? Let's go. Let's go. So, like I said, Mexico. Then after that, Bali, Thailand, Egypt, Tokyo, and then Dubai. Tokyo is the most requested trip we've ever had. Every poll we've ever done, Tokyo was requested for the last 4 years. I always like, why do people want to go to Tokyo? Like, what is...
Because you hear about it. It's all the way on the side of the world. It's Tokyo, bro.
Yeah, but a lot of shit's on the other side of the world.
But how many people you know go to Tokyo? How many people you know that say, yeah, I've been to Tokyo?
Well, I've been a traveler for a long time, and I've been a part of a lot of social media, like, networks of travelers. So I do know a lot of people who've been to Tokyo.
Okay.
But my average network back home, not a lot, no. But when I went for the first time, even just for a one-day layover, I instantly got it.
Why?
It's magical, bro. It's like, it's a consumer haven. Like, everything is set up for you to want more food. The food is so cheap. The price of living is amazing, right? The lights everywhere, like everything is shiny. It's like they built the city to attract the kid in you and pull it out of you. Even if it's through nightlife and like degenerate shit, it's like colorful. You know what I'm saying? Like
lights, a lot of. I know Tokyo is like it's like New York in a way. They say it's like.
And that's
New York.
just Tokyo. Now, Tokyo also has multiple different landscapes, and they have other little cities like Kyoto or Osaka, and those cities are more traditional, right? Or I don't remember which one is the more traditional one, but you have other cities that are super traditional, and these are places where they have, you know, the bigger temples, and people will wear kimonos and dress a certain way like that. But Tokyo is also one of the greatest foodie countries in the world. Like, if you're a foodie, a person who loves to eat, it's got to be in your top 5. Like, if you've ever been there, it's for sure in your top 5. So, Tokyo, and then they have Mount Fuji.
I've heard of that.
I mean, is Mount Fuji the biggest mountain in the world? No, that's Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
But it's one of the biggest, right? It's amazing. And so there's just so much in Japan, period. The culture is amazing. The people are extremely nice and hospitable. And the nightlife is super fun.
So I got a quick question for you. What's one of your number one places that you want to visit that you haven't visited yet? What's that number one place? Is it Antarctica?
Honestly, the way all these conspiracies are lined up right
Trying
now.
to go see what's at the end of the wall.
Trying to see what's going down, man. But I think just all of Africa, you know what I'm saying? Just all of Africa. I've only been to Egypt in Africa so far. We're going back to Egypt again this year, but we're going to tap into a couple of Egypt trips.
What about South Africa?
Yeah.
I've heard they said they have some of the most beautiful. I actually know someone of a friend that they're in South Africa right now.
Me too.
And like all of the videos and stuff like that, I'm like,
It's amazing.
it's amazing.
Beach,
Beach,
mountain. That's why I loved LA, because I could hike one day,
You can go to the
or
beach
go to
the
the beach
next
the same day. So my boy Eno was our videographer for one of our videographers for Dubai, and my main videographer for the Bali trip we did last year. He went and lived in South Africa for a few months this year, and I mean his content was ridiculous. But one cool thing about cities like South Africa that are booming is there is a growing network of young entrepreneurs and young movers and shakers in the city. And I think that's the thing that makes a city lively and grow, is when you have working youth who are building in that city, in that place, and creating culture and community. That's what pulls resources into that place. And so South Africa is definitely one of the places that has that right now. Dubai, of course, Bali, Medellin, Colombia. Houston is one of those places. But yeah, that's really what's going on over there.
We taking the podcast worldwide, man. We every country, every continent, we taking the JetLounge.
We really do have to do the podcast and apply
Get
it
your
now.
passports ready, because
we
we
gotta
going
do that.
global.
So look, what we say? Let me see if we got any last major things that I did want to talk about before we start to close out. Let's see what we got. Okay, I do. All right, so before we close out, obviously we just talked about the trips. What's up, bro? You good? Yes, sir. One thing that I do want to, and we'll get into more details about this later, but I want to at least just make sure I continuously tell the story and make sure people understand, is like, with JetQuest, we are a travel club, but we're also a tech company, and we're building out a platform that's going to allow, so just think Airbnb for group travel and community, right? We're building out a community that's going to make it easier for hosts and basically organizers of travel to execute trips, execute group experiences. And, if you don't know, it takes multiple platforms to run a group experience. You probably have a payment processor, a website, something that breaks up payment plans. You're using group chats, WhatsApp or Instagram group chat. You have to communicate through email to lock in contracts. There's a lot of different moving parts to put together an experience, and that's just before the trip. We're not even talking about during the trip or promoting the trip. We're just talking about putting it together. There's so much that happens with it. And as a person who's been doing this for 11 years, I realized very fast that there's no platform that streamlines all these things that you need to do to make a successful trip under one roof. And so that's what we're doing for the organizers of travel. For the travelers, it's fragmented. You have lots of different options, but for group experiences and for connecting, there's not really anybody focusing on orchestrating connections through travel. You have other group travel companies and platforms, but that's not 100% their focus. And even the way they're going about it is different from JetQuest, because I don't think a lot of them focus on their brand. We want to build our brand in the way that people trust JetQuest like they trust Airbnb. You don't necessarily book an Airbnb because of the host. Now with JetQuest, we do want to empower the host, and we want to make sure that they're able to build their brand bigger too. But we want people to also come back because they trust the JetQuest brand and because the structure. If you book an Airbnb, you know if this is fucked up, I can go get my refund.
Airbnb.
Right. And it's the same thing. Every influencer or trip organizer or travel guide is not really an entrepreneur or a business owner. They might be great at executing experiences, but that doesn't make them a business owner or an entrepreneur, right? So there needs to be structure and a trusted brand and corporation set up around them. And that's what I think we come in and do. But for the travelers, what we do is give them peace of mind and community. They don't have to think.
Convenience. That's what people are paying for.
The convenience of not having a plan, not having to execute your own trip, not having to make the decisions when you're on the trip, all this is going to be streamlined and automated in our software that we're building right now today. Right before this podcast, we had a call for 2 hours, 3 developers putting this together. So it's amazing, man. I'm just like excited. We're in a great time. We're doing a lot, but this is like, we got one life. We 32, 33, we got one life, man. And this is really how you got to do it. You got to go all out. You know, hopefully by the time we're 55, 60, we can relax a little bit, but I'm not trying to relax right now.
Work.
We trying to put it all on the field before we die. So you got some more stuff? What you got?
Man, I got a lot going on. I'm busy. I told myself I'm working on the rest of the year. Podcast, content, every day I'm staying busy. I'm not taking a single day off.
Your systems are in a good place right now because, you know, the credit, as far as what you got to do, is simple. It's repetitive.
I have a system. I tell people, system means save yourself time, energy, and money. You don't have to sacrifice because you're building a business. You can't spend time with your kids. No, I have a system where I can do everything. And it's, you know, I'm excited, man. I got a lot of work to do, though, but I'm definitely excited about the JetLounge podcast. I'm excited about traveling. I'm excited about, you know, just networking with different people in the city.
Yeah.
But more importantly, taking this thing global, man. Because who would have ever thought, you know, one day we could be on the beach doing a podcast and, you know, it might be the Sheik, you know, in Dubai sitting next to us doing a podcast. Because I'm like thinking big, bro.
No,
What's the point
for
of
real.
doing it if we're not going to do it big?
The funny part about that is that's exactly how Dubai works. That's why I want to live in Dubai. I remember me and Eno, shout out to Eno again, we're at the Cloud 22 rooftop pool at the Aura, or the Atlantis in Dubai. And me and him walking around taking photos. You got a black dude with braids, a German white dude walking around taking photos and just like snapping, making content. Older white gentleman walks up to us like, "Who are you guys? What y'all up to, man? What y'all doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I own a travel company, blah, blah, blah." Tell him about JetQuest. Eno's a content creator from Germany. He lives in Bali now. He's working with us. He's like, "Oh, okay." Tries to pull a slight flex. Okay, well, yeah, I'm the head of AI for the royal family in Qatar. And these are the kind of fucking people who you're around in Dubai without knowing it. Regular looking white guy, beautiful wife. He was celebrating their anniversary. We ended up chopping up with him, having some drinks. We ended up hanging out with him the next hour. But yeah, I actually need to hit him on WhatsApp. I got his WhatsApp. I forgot to talk to him. He need to chop it up and see what he got going on right now. I'm coming back to Dubai. But yeah, man, like that's who you're around, you know?
Like-minded, high quality.
Yeah,
The environment, you know, it changes, you know. I tell people all the time, I like hanging, like, again, the richest part of Houston. I don't got to say the names. And it's the reason why, because you never know who you might be playing
that last
tennis.
video you said, when you talked about that shit went viral. So we're gonna post that one on the page too, and then we're gonna post this one right after. So this is official number one. That was first number one.
You got to hang around the money in order to attract the money. I don't want to hang in the hood. There's no money in the hood unless you know, gentrifying the hood, but there's no money for me hanging out in the hood. I want to hang out. You know, I like hanging out in the parks and River Oaks. Why? Because the police is riding by and they're making sure that everyone is safe.
If you buy land in the hood, you definitely want somebody who's managing it. You just got to do better. Yeah, even like in Nipsey's case, I love and respect everything Nipsey was doing, but it ultimately ended up being his demise because he was unprotected amongst the people that he grew up around, who had ill will towards him. Which I feel there's a double story to that, because that person was not a regular member of the community. That was for sure a crash out. I'm a conspiracy theorist, call it what you want. I don't think that was just a regular person on some regular street stuff and who was angry. That was something else. That was a mission. But nonetheless, he was unprotected in his neighborhood. You know, that really wouldn't have been able to happen, and they wouldn't have been able to sell that story that way if it would have been in Melrose, or, you know what I'm saying,
Rodeo
freaking,
Drive,
it wouldn't have been the
Beverly
same.
Hills.
It was like, why would he be over there? He came all the way from Crenshaw
The hood.
to the Beverly Center to shoot, and I'm like, that sounds like, but it's an easier story when it's right off the street. So anyway, man, we gonna keep it pushing. This has been episode number 1 of the Jet Lounge podcast, man. We hope y'all like it. We're gonna have another guest. If you want to be a guest or a host, we still have a spot open for the other hosts. I'm gonna be doing some calls this week to make sure we fill that though. So if you want to tap in with us, DM me, DM Shakeel, DM the Jet Lounge podcast page. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers. No more champagne.
Let's go. Oh, I gotta piss like a
Me too.